AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is partly cloudy, 73 degrees in downtown St. Louis at 12:03. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
All summer long, Metro Day Passes from Metro Transit are just $5, so you can take a summer daycation anytime because your air-conditioned, no-gas to buy super safe, super clean Chariot awaits. Buy yours at metrostlouis.org. That's metrostl.org.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. And by Anderson Hospital, a Newsweek World's Best Hospital. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Well, we went from pursuing Lutz Pfannenstiel, sporting director for St. Louis City SC, weekly guest on KMOX on Sundays, to join us Monday for this show, the Gashouse Gang. And minutes later, he was relieved of his duties, fired as the team's sporting director with Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman, covering this breaking news from the club. Matt Pajeski, Frank Ladd, our producers. And we are joined on the line to analyze this right away by Tom Bogert, who does an excellent podcast. It's called Soccer Wise. In fact, he is going to be doing his own analysis online here shortly. But we want to get a hold of him as soon as we could, the MLS insider who also writes for The Athletic. Tom, thank you very much on short notice for joining us on KMOX.
What's going on, guys? Yeah, sorry for it's a bit of a drop-off from Lutz to me here on this story. I imagine I was the second call, but I'm glad to get the call.
No, hey, look, we need some analysis right away on this, and you've been out front on a lot of things when it comes to Major League Soccer. Let me get your initial reaction to the news, which broke within the last hour.
My biggest surprise was the timing. I figured at this point, this would be something that happened either, if not right when the season ended, maybe the week before, something like that. Like, you look at the schedule, I know that there's some home games coming up, and hey, like, the season's already lost, whether the team finishes with, 30 points instead of a few less, and then it wasn't, I think, going to make a difference. So while the timing was just a little bit surprising to happen at this stage, like, not necessarily shocked, just given the results, and that's just the nature of football.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess this stuff does happen, not just in soccer, but in all sports where people are, let go, and it's usually a surprise. Is this something that you feel like City had to do?
Yeah, I mean, like, the arguments here, well, I think generally, yeah, because there was, Bradley Carnell got fired. The replacement set the club back a full year. And there hasn't been enough signs over the last 18 months that things are trending in the right direction that, yeah, I think it was about time. And again, just the nature of modern day sports is that this is usually when these things happen. There's not a whole lot of job security around the world and when things aren't going right in any sport, in any league. So, yeah, I think it was about time.
So they make the move today, and now a next chapter begins for St. Louis City SC, who actually hired Pfannenstiel a while ago. It was in the summer of 2020, so this has been a 5-year run for him, even though this is 3 years in the making in terms of the club at the Major League Soccer level. Tom, as you well know, he was hired early on to be the architect of this organization. So the natural question is, what's next? What do you think their course of action will be without speaking yet to Diego Giuliani and the ownership group?
Yeah, so I do want to start by saying that, the first season that St. Louis City had was historic. So I don't want to make this sound like everything was all bad always. Mm-hmm. There needs to be credit for, it's really difficult. I know that St. Louis did it, now San Diego are towards the top of the West. Maybe they'll reach that new record, but prior to that, like Atlanta, it was unheard of for an expansion team to even make the playoffs, let alone be top of the conference. So, again, I do just want to say that there was a lot of good things they did. There were a lot of injuries this season, but when that happens a couple years in a row, you run out of that goodwill or whatever. And yes, it was time. He did do a lot of good things, particularly at the beginning. In terms of what's next, that's a great question. We don't know exactly what Diego Giuliani wants to do with this team, because I believe it'll be his and obviously the ownership decision right now to hire a new sporting director. My understanding is that his purview wasn't soccer decisions, like if that was still loose. So obviously that'll be interesting. Will they use the ownership group and Diego with his contacts around global soccer? For me, and again, it's not a binary. One thing is good, one thing is bad. In my experience around Major League Soccer, the highest success rate in hiring a sporting director when you don't know what to do is you pick 5 of the best teams you like in the league, call their number 2. You know, you look at Neil McGuinness at LAFC, Chris Tierney in New England. I know that New England aren't doing so well. Ricardo Moreira would have been if he didn't just get the CSO job in Orlando. Same thing with Issa Tall in Columbus. Like, you look around at the guys who are getting in, Corey Ray just left CF Montreal. You look at whoever you like and respect and has some experience. This is what FC Cincinnati did with Chris Albright. They went from literally the worst team in league history to consistently and immediately one of the best in MLS. So the highest floor is always there. That doesn't mean that international additions can't succeed. Ernst Tanner has proven that with the Philadelphia Union. Again, Lucid Good at the beginning of St. Louis. But for me, when you don't exactly know what you want to do, if you don't have a guy in mind or a woman in mind, just go get your favorite number 2 at a different good club in MLS.
So if I can toss another name out there, tell me about Peter Vermees, who was let go by Sporting KC at the end of March.
That's an interesting one. I said this for a while preceding Peter Vermees' dismissal. Is Peter Vermees the head coach is still really good. Peter Vermees, the sporting director, not. So if his stipulation is I'm only coming if I get to have control of the soccer decisions as well as head coach, I think you pass on that. And that, even before starting with how would the fans react from the guy who was synonymous with Sporting Kansas City comes to St. Louis. I think they'd get over it if they start winning, but that's something that has the chance to go bad. So if he's good to just come as a head coach, yes, but as long as the sporting director that comes in also wants that to happen. So there's a few things that go there. I would not hire him as a CSO plus head coach.
I am a very big believer in sports that it's about ownership more than anything else, because that's the entity that provides the resources. So either you have them or you don't have them. And not all general managers or team presidents operate under the same parameters. Some get a lot more leeway. And we were told before the season that the playoffs were a must. This was a season that they had to get to the playoffs. Is the organization, or whoever it is, if it's Lutz or if it's Giuliani, whoever it is that's running the show, is City SC giving them the resources to work with to compete in the league? Because we've heard complaints from people who are big fans of this team who don't feel like that's been done.
I think those are fair complaints. And listen, like, the ownership group is helping fund the stadium. Like, there's a lot of costs. I'll preface this. It's obviously so easy for us to spend other people's money. But you know what you're getting into when you're owning a sports team. You know what the valuations are. You know what other teams are spending. You know what the success is. And yes, you can do well to a certain point without money. It's just easier with more money, that you have more room for error and you have just a wider chance to be successful. I'm not saying that they need to go out and do what LAFC just did by signing Son Heung-min for a league record $27 million fee and probably a very large contract. I'm not saying they need to go out and put $8 or $9 million contract on the table. But what they need to do is I forget exactly how much Joao Klaus's transfer fee was. I think that's their record signing. You look at every other team and look at who their record signing is. It's not a player with Joao Klaus's pedigree and resume. It's again, whether it's salary or transfer fee, these are higher caliber players, and that needs to increase. I hope it does. I'm not sure it will. There's nobody who can answer that question other than ownership, because guess what? Ownership, even if they go out and say in a press conference, we're going to spend more. Yeah, they're not going to go out and say we're going to spend less, right? You don't say that in a press conference. So whatever they say, it needs to be followed with action. It needs to be followed with, here's a 26-year-old player in his prime, and let's go sign. Hey, if it's going to cost prime money, we're going to get a prime target.
This is Tom Bogert, who writes for The Athletic, and his Soccer Wise podcast as an MLS insider is extremely popular. He is very much in demand on this topic. Lutz Pfannenstiel being fired by City within the last hour, and we really appreciate your time. Just a few more, if you don't mind. Diego Giuliani, who is the team's president and general manager, said this in a statement: as we enter the next phase of the club's long-term plan, to lift up the region and help both the team and St. Louis achieve its potential. The next 5 years will be extremely important, and believe a change in sporting leadership will help the club's pursuit of its goals. Why does he say 5 years there, do you think? What's the significance of that?
I don't mean to be boring or flippant. I don't read press release quotes because I doubt that
they're manufactured.
If he said it, it's gone through the ringer of 5 PR people.
It's probably
it doesn't mean much to me.
Yeah, it's probably because Lutz has been here for 5 years, is what I'm guessing. So what he's saying is Lutz was here for 5, so we're going to do the next 5. Yeah.
And that it's a long-term decision, and I think that's a fair way to read into it. But I mean, I guess just in the way that I read any sporting director, CSO, general manager change is that this is a long-term decision. Right? It's not just for 2026. Though obviously 2026 needs to be an improvement. This isn't just about hey, let's be better next year. Like, no, this is a new path we need to put ourselves on.
Sure, and it's an accumulation of things I'm sure that they've kept track of over time. Lutz has obviously been as you mentioned, a lot of good things, the architect of building that first season. He was very good to us here at this radio station, joining us on a weekly basis, big personality and all those things, but an accumulation of things. But if you could narrow it down to one, I think you nailed it. That the Olaf Melberg hiring is tied to him.
Yeah. And again, like anything else, like there were split decisions in that race. There were a lot of people I talked to who again, outside of the club, I should say as well, that believe that Hackworth should have gotten the job. Hackworth publicly wanted the job. I thought he earned it as well myself, but my opinion doesn't matter a ton. But of course, there was that debate within the club. But at the end of the day, the sporting director is going to be the one that has to put their hand up and like, hey, it's not me. Again, I'm not saying this happened in this situation, but the ownership has to sign off on everything. And technically the president should too. So yes, like while like this isn't a one-person decision, this is how it goes. The sporting director is going to live and die by these decisions, and this one was just obviously and very quickly proven to be wrong.
So I think what anybody listening who is a fan of City SC wants to know is how quickly can this team become competitive again? Because we know what happened year one, last 2 years, not great. So they want to get back at least into playoff contention. How soon should that happen realistically?
So in MLS, like with 9 teams making the playoffs in East Conference, that has to be the goal every single season. There are mitigating factors. It depends on what things look like and how big of if this is, say, a revolution rather than, say, like a reloading. But you look around MLS, like I just talked about Cincinnati, and not everybody should be graded on that curve, but like Cincinnati went again from not just bad, but historically the worst team ever to then, be winning a Supporters Shield within a couple of years and then the success they had. Nashville, BJ Callahan, head coach Scott, did get a half-season head start as a new coach, but they went from very bad to very, very good this season. So MLS, more than anything else, really, just because of the nature of the league, the salary cap, the parity, you can't turn things around really quickly. And I do think that there are still enough players on this roster that make sense together as long as players are healthy, that a couple changes here and there, a head coach and a new sporting director, new head coach, some new voices, and things could turn around pretty quickly in this league.
Tom Bogert, we can't thank you enough. You are an MLS insider. You write for The Athletic. You have your Soccer Wise podcast, which I know will be very active today. Before we go, let us return the favor. Please tell our 50,000 watt audience and signal here across the country what your podcast is all about and how people can find it.
Yeah, you can just find Soccer Wise wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, wherever. We believe we're the preeminent national coverage of the league. We do 2 shows a week and try to mix a blend of obviously inside information from me and analysis, but we try to keep it light. Don't take ourselves too seriously.
Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? We appreciate your time very much. Thank you on such short notice for taking our call.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Tom Bogert with us was a great analysis and breakdown of a big story that came out within the last hour. The sporting director of St. Louis City SC, Lutz Pfannenstiel, has been relieved of his duties, and City will, I would assume, address this in a press conference, maybe not at some point.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's going to be today. I would hope
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, okay.
You never know. Matt with a smart aleck comments, shocked by the firing. If I've learned
I didn't think you were
anything,
going to go to this one.
Of course I would. If you've learned anything from the Cardinals, he deserved at least another 8 years, and then the right to leave on his terms.
Oh,
the
man.
Cardinals.
How about Matt?
Cardinals fans jumping in with their analysis of the departure.
Wait a minute. You can do that?
Yeah.
No, that's
Anyway.
Matt's passionate.
Yeah,
Matt cares.
You bet he is. We're going to take a break, but first I want to tell you about buying a new car. A new car is Genesis. That is St. Charles' #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri, Genesis of St. Charles, #1 in the state for 2025. The first and only standalone Genesis dealership in the state of Missouri is Genesis of St. Charles. Every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service. You can schedule everything online. You can stop by for exclusive in-store offers. They are closer than you think. 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway. That's off Mid-Rivers Mall Drive and I-70. You drive by it all the time. But you can also buy online and let them deliver right to you at genesisofstcharles.com. genesisofstcharles.com for the very latest from Genesis of St. Charles. Let Genesis of St. Charles bring the test drive to you. Genesis of St. Charles.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/try and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/try. openphone.com/TRY.
Hello, fellow Missourians. This is your Congressman Bob Onder. My top priority is serving you. Whether you need help with a VA claim, Social Security, Medicare, or any other federal issue, my team and I are here to cut through the red tape and give you answers. In the last 6 months alone, we have returned over $1 million to taxpayers. Call my office or visit my website, onder.house.gov, to learn more. Missouri is my home, and I'm honored to serve you in D.C.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Registered by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
If you're a homeowner or renter and you sustain damage to your home or personal property from the May 16th tornado and storms, you can apply for FEMA disaster assistance. The deadline to apply is Tuesday, August 26th. You can apply by visiting a disaster recovery center at Union Tabernacle MB Church or the Urban League's Entrepreneurship and Women's Business Center in the city of St. Louis by calling the FEMA helpline at 1-800-621-3362 or visit disasterassistance.gov.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. But our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays at 1 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
The Gashouse Gang with Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman. Normally, we talk baseball pretty much the entire show, but big news broke just before we hit the air. Lutz Pfannenstiel fired as sporting director for City. Lutz is, I would say, a great friend to KMOX. I have him on every Sunday morning, so I will miss those conversations. There's no doubt about that. I know there's a lot of shock and a lot of surprise when they let go an executive like that, the sporting director who was in charge of all soccer decisions with the organization. But understand something. This is my opinion now. I'm not getting this from anybody. I'm just saying ownership. I do believe they said in the beginning of the year, Carolyn Kindle, who leads that ownership group, said our expectation is to make the playoffs.
Yep.
I mean, if you don't make the playoffs and your owners want you to make the playoffs and you don't, I'm not sure that your job is secure. I'm not saying that you get fired because of that, but I would say that you're on some thin ice. And at this point, that's what they did. And, you know, we talked to Tom Bogert last segment about the hiring of Olaf Melberg. Lutz, as much as I love him, and he knows this because I poked a little fun at him last year during the Jack Buck Awards that he whacked Bradley Carnell so quickly that the organization did. But he did that. And when you do that, you are now tied to your next hire. And his next hire was Olaf Melberg, and it did not work out very well. They needed to rebound. They look a little bit better under David Critchley, but as it turns out, they must have an idea which direction they want to go, Chris, because they've let Lutz go.
Well, it's still not good enough what they've done, even though it does look better under the new coach. That's true. The problem with this is it's not like they are marginally competitive. Playoff competitive, I mean. They are well out of a playoff spot. And when the expectation going into the season is this has to be a playoff team, especially after what happened last year, it does not work to finish second from last in the standings. That's not going to work. So whoever's fault it ends up being, if it is Lutz, if it is the fact he didn't have enough resources that he could expend in order to make this team better, whatever it is, this result is not good enough. Can't be second from the bottom of the table when they've been talking about playoffs being the thing. Got to get to the playoffs. If they were maybe, I don't know, where Salt Lake is right now, and Salt Lake is just outside the playoffs, they're 4 points back of Austin. If you're there, all right, maybe this is a little more questionable, but you can't be second to last.
No,
you can't.
You
I mean, this is if this is supposed to be a playoff team and you're not even close, someone's got to go.
And by the way, they're not second to last in payroll either. I mean, the last I saw, the stats came out earlier this year. They were right in the middle of the league in terms of payroll, right in the middle, in the teens, probably somewhere from 13, 14, 15. They're not a team that this isn't the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, they're spending some money on players. So anybody who's saying that is not correct. And I have to think that if they want to keep this fan base hopping and they want to keep people going through the turnstiles and they've invested a lot, why not invest it in payroll and continue on that path? So I have to think that this move, my hope is this is an aggressive move, that they're going to go hire somebody who's going to steer them in the right direction very quickly. This is not a rebuilding project by any stretch. They want to move this thing fast. You can't miss the playoffs 2 years in a row if you're City getting off to a great start. As fortunate as everything was in year one, everything went right. The ball went in, players stayed healthy for the most part. Klaus was hurt a little bit in year one, but things haven't gone their way, but it doesn't matter. This is professional sports. And if you don't win, you're not going to keep your position, unfortunately. Well, I feel bad for Lutz because I do like him, but I get it and I understand it.
Tom, there's a grace period with new teams. None of us expected them to finish first in year one. Okay. And I don't even think we were expecting them to do it in year 2 or 3, even. Just get to the playoffs or make some noise. They're not even making, this is a whimper.
No, they're not.
This isn't a good team. It's just, it hasn't been particularly fun to watch all year, and the results are lousy. So, I don't know if it's Lutz's fault necessarily. He's certainly part of the issue. And I think if it doesn't go anything close to what you expected, whether or not it's justified, somebody has to pay the price for it. You got to start finding a way to move forward.
Let's take a break. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, as we shift our attention to baseball. We'll continue to follow your comments on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, and we do have some that are coming in, and we will get you back to baseball as we have the Cardinals playing a 4-game series at home against the Pittsburgh Pirates starting tonight. With Chris Ranji, I'm Tom Ackerman. The Gashouse Gang is sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, and by Anderson Hospital. We'll be right back.
Emergency evacuation
Breaking
order.
news that earns national recognition doesn't happen by chance. It's driven by the relentless focus, dedication, and commitment of a trusted newsroom.
Floodwaters are closing
Recently
roads
honored with the National Edward R. Murrow Award for breaking news, the KMOX newsroom continues to be the vital source of information for our region.
Shelter in place.
Timely reporting every day and rising to the moment when major stories unfold. 104.1 FM KMOX. The voice of St. Louis.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Right now it is 73 degrees and partly sunny in St. Louis. The AccuWeather Real Feel is 82. The weather is brought to you by FanDuel Sports Network. Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your TV and streaming home of the Cardinals. Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network and stream the Cardinals. Or watch through your TV provider. Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com for details.
Now, 90 and 60. A look back at the latest St. Louis City SC match. Presented by Woods Basement Systems, Inc.
Now, ball and swings.
Header! Oh, yeah, baby! Yeah! Edward Leuven! City lead!
Klaus pulls it back against two defenders. No, he swirls, he shoots, and scores! Oh, Joel Klaus! Thomas Muller against Roman Berkey. Muller hesitates right foot, and he sends it top shelf. A triumphant roar from this Canadian crowd. Vancouver, in controversial fashion, wins 3-2.
Up next, City SC faces the Houston Dynamo Saturday night. Kick at 7:30 on Y98.
Tripping over uneven concrete? Don't replace it, raise it with concrete leveling. Call the all things basement-y experts, Wood Basement Systems, for a free estimate at 618-249-5503 or learn more at woodsbasementsystems.com.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are visiting with Dr. Premal Thacker.
I think the key is recognizing symptoms and not ignoring them to say, oh, I think that's going to go away. So I highly encourage anyone who's listening, if they're having abnormal bleeding or hasn't seen their gynecologist in a while, to really make that appointment to ensure that you're getting the best health.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, please visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit cantorinjurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gashouse Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Now the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX. Sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
The pitch. Round ball headed up the middle. That's a base hit. Burleson's going to score, and it's 7-2. Gorman with a nice and easy swing drives in his 39th run.
Well, whatever you can take out of that one yesterday, that was a long rain delay in Tampa, Florida.
Dude, what are we doing?
For our guys in the booth and everybody else involved, John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, joins us on KMOX. John, it's always great to have you on. It's great to have you back home.
It's nice to be home. Better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding. What was that like yesterday, man? I'll tell you what, I've never, this has to be, we got to check with the Elias Sports Bureau. I'm not sure a team's ever endured as many rain delays as the 2025 St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, it seems like it. And, for the guys in the booth and for everybody else had to go through it.
and their team had to go through it too, and it's part of the schedule. And that is the one thing I don't like about playing everybody. It's a weather problem. If you had perfect weather, then no big deal. But all of the rain delays, the time you have to spend waiting to see if weather is going to clear to try to get these games in, and if you have an extra day you're playing them, play a doubleheader. It's just so weighed down with problems that can cause a team problems if they go into the next series, and you might have a division series against somebody after that. I know everybody deals with it. It's part of the game, but it's something I'm not sure they thought that through very well.
So I guess from a fan's perspective, some people probably like the idea of seeing every team every year. Some people would like to play more division opponents. Do you think there's going to be much of a shift in the way this is done with the next CBA?
Well, I think there'll be realignment shortly thereafter, and that will try to cut down on a lot of travel, and it will probably put teams with their natural rivals in the same division. I think that's the idea heading forward, and how that all works out with the schedule, how many times you play within your division, all of that will be dealt with accordingly. And some have even suggested going back to 154 games and shortening the schedule just to make it all work out. We'll see how it goes. But yes, I think there'll be more regional travel and cut down on some of those costs and the wear and tear on the players, more importantly.
Some of those short trips for the Cardinals: Chicago, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, which will be the opponents coming up this weekend. John, speaking of Milwaukee, I did not get to catch a lot of it because I was sort of all over the place yesterday, but I did see highlights of the tribute to Bob Uecker, and what a special man Ueck was to all of us in the game of baseball.
Well, Bob Uecker, he was one of a kind. And why do you think Johnny Carson had him on more than 100 times? And he told me he finally found out long after Carson had passed on to a relative of Carson's that Johnny liked Ueck because he really didn't care about anything when he came on. He was just there to do his bit, make Carson laugh. He wasn't pushing a book or wasn't pushing a movie. And I remember when Major League came out, Carson really had to force him to go to the clip to take a look at it from Major League. But just being able to make Johnny laugh and give him a break from everybody else who happened to be pushing something, Uecker was a one-of-a-kind, and he did that for everybody he met, and meant a lot to that clubhouse in Milwaukee for sure. And he meant a lot to the clubhouse when he was with the Cardinals back in the 60s.
John, when you were before you became a broadcaster, I imagine that you had the same dreams most broadcasters have of doing this someday for a team, whether it's baseball, football, or whatever. Who did you like? Who did you listen to? And, who were the sort of people that maybe you modeled your craft after?
Well, one thing, you really shouldn't model your style after anybody. And I probably modeled mine a little bit too much after hearing a lot of Denny Matthews. I had a guy hear me doing a minor league game. That sounds like Denny Matthews. Best thing I ever heard, because I stopped it and I started becoming my own style. That's the worst thing you can do, because I'm sure teams get a pile of used to be tapes and then CDs, and now they have digital files that are coming in, applying for jobs that sound like Vin Scully, that sound like Jack Buck, that sound like Bob Costas, that sound like John Miller. You want to sound like yourself. And that was probably the best lesson I learned. And that was in my first year of doing minor league baseball. And I started paying more attention to how I wanted to sound. Now, there are things that announcers do that I think can help you describe a game and tell people what's going on. But I hear a lot of young announcers, and I don't hear a great deal of description. Tell me what's going on the field. Here's the windup and the pitch. Set an image. And tell me about the playing surface. Tell me about where the defense is lined up. And you can almost tell a person it's going to be a base hit if you've told them the defensive alignment before the pitch. There are a lot of things like that I learned from technique and one thing and another. And you just have to be yourself. But I listened to Jack Buck and Harry Carey. I listened to Monty Moore and George Bryson doing the Kansas City A's. And then Bud Blattner was a terrific announcer. He did the Hawks games in St. Louis, and he did Game of the Week with Dizzy Dean, and he was also, I think, with Pee Wee Reese for a while before he did the Angels and then did the Royals. And Denny Matthews has been in Kansas City since day one in 1969. April 8th, 69 was their first game, and he's been there ever since. But I heard Halsey Hall and Herb Carneal and Ray Scott on WCCO, and Bai Sam out of Philadelphia, and Harry Callis, of course, later on with the Phillies. And you get all these broadcasts, Bob Prince out of Pittsburgh. And I enjoyed listening to all of them because they all had their own styles and they were so different. And Bob Uecker definitely had his style. There were times where he could be deadpan as can be and wasn't all that funny, but you trigger him on something and it's a show. That's what made him so wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, we are in the entertainment business after all. I really want to tap into this a little bit more, John. I love this. So you're going to be hosting a forum for the Missouri Broadcasters Association on Tuesday, September 16th, before the Cardinals take on the Reds. What else would you tell young broadcasters or anybody wanting to get into the business about how to succeed, how to sustain success in this business?
Well, I think take some tips from the people you like listening to as far as how they go about it. Preparation is a big, big key. Finding out what you need to do to prepare, how you need to do it, and then lock in on a regimen that will get you ready for that broadcast or the interview or being on a newscast or whatever you happen to be doing. I think that's so important, and we're going to highlight preparation and definitely being yourself. But networking and meeting a lot of people, but the whole key in the end, it's finding your comfortable area, how you sound, how you go about it. Bud Blattner told me, he said, it's more important what you say actually than how you sound, because that microphone can be a real weapon if you're careless. Be very aware of how you present yourself and the material, what you're talking about. Be very well informed, and that's all part of the preparation too.
Well, let me ask you this because broadcasting, fundamentally, it's the same as it's always been. The job is the same. Describe what's happening on the field. Do it so that, if you're on radio, that people can visualize what's happening. That's the number one job. But do you think that the overall industry has changed in at least the way broadcasters are supposed to present what's happening on the field, or do you think it's just the way it always has been?
Chris, the games are different. That's what makes it different. We're broadcasting the games, and you have to put it in terms where people will understand it. And I think that's why some of this has been uniform. You throw in the stories, a sense of humor and personality, and that's what really polishes it up, I think. But the games are different, so you have to tell people what's going on. To me, it's the best reality programming out there. Whether it be any sport, you have different sets of circumstances. Something happens in a baseball game every day that I haven't seen before. It just happens, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. But no, that's what makes play-by-play sports so interesting. And to have kind of a template and a format you follow, you add in those extra things I talked about, and that's what makes a broadcast. It's what made Harry Carey. It's what made Jack Buck. Joe Buck is so much different from Jack, but they're great announcers because they did things their way, found their styles, and did what they took that God-given ability and enhanced it with a lot of work. That's the other side of it. You have to work at it, and like any player, anybody, I don't know anybody in sports who wants to go out there and be bad. They all want to do the best they possibly can, but it comes with a lot of work.
John, one final thought. Beautiful weather for this 4-game series against the Pirates, and it starts tonight at Busch Stadium, 6:45, first pitch for Michael McGreevy. He'll oppose former Cardinal Johan Oviedo, but just your evaluation of McGreevy as he's come along here in this Major League season.
He's a pitcher who pitches to contact, and we've known that from the first time we saw him in a spring training game, but I like the way he can adjust. I like the way he bears down. He's not a guy to rattle very easy. That's what I really enjoy about him. If he gives up 2, 3, 4 runs, and he's done that a couple of times where he's had a big inning go against him, he comes right back out and competes. And that's the personality he brings to the game and why I like to watch him pitch. he's around the plate. And if they make the plays behind him, he's going to be quite successful. And he has been to this point with a 5-2 record. And he has a winning record at the major league level. He's going to be fun to watch and be a part of this Cardinal rotation.
Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you very much, as always, for joining us on the Gashouse Gang.
All right, Tom, Chris, have a good one.
Have a good one. The voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, with us on KMOX. The Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, and by Anderson Hospital. When we come back, we'll get back into your comments and questions. We'll talk about not only Lutz Pfannenstiel's firing, but the replacement of the president of baseball operations with the Cardinals. John Mozeliak is on his way out. Chaim Bloom is on his way in. And that position just in general, what that means to you and to us. Back in a moment on KMOX.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent or visit mofbinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're for Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
When life happens and you need to sell your St. Louis area home, call trusted realtor Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria is St. Louis's real estate expert with more than 22 years of experience and expertise, helping you sell quickly and for the most money.
Selling your home can be so stressful, especially when life happens, like a sudden job change, a passing of a loved one, or a growing family. Knowing exactly how much your home will sell in today's market is the first step. Then I back it up with an upfront written guarantee. My guarantee is simple and easy to understand. If I can't sell your home at our agreed upon price and time frame, I'll buy it myself.
When life happens, the name to remember is Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. I strongly suggest you call her right now at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Check the back seat. Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good, because every year dozens of children are forgotten in the back seat. Cars get hot fast and can be deadly, so get it in your head. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ETHOS.com/life.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Flashback to 1985 when the hair was big, the colors were bright, and the Cards were the National League champs. Don't miss 80s night at Busch Stadium on Friday, September 5th. With a special themed ticket, fans will take home a throwback 1985 National League champs crew neck sweatshirt. Plus, jam out to your favorite 80s hits at a pregame concert by Decade of Decadence. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/theme.
This is Willie McGee, St. Louis Cardinals for the Loop.
Hola amigos, this is Polo Asensio, Spanish broadcaster for your Cardenales, inviting you to Fiesta Cardenales presented by State Farm on September 7th. With a theme ticket, fans will take home a lightweight Cardenales hooded pullover. Don't miss a special heritage celebration in Budweiser Terrace before the game. A portion of each ticket sold will benefit the Hispanic Education, Cultural, and Scholarship Foundation. For tickets or details, visit cardinals.com/fiesta.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and by Anderson Hospital on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Well, it's been a day. Gashouse Gang with Chris Ranji, Tom Ackerman, Lutz Pfannenstiel, relieved of his duties. Talked with John Rooney about the Cardinals, or we more talked about broadcasting. The Cardinals just didn't give us a lot to get after this weekend, I wouldn't think. I don't think. Yeah, it's a weird weekend with no Saturday game. It just breaks up the whole thing.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, it is.
But I know they have football, and that's why they didn't play on Saturday. Like there was a Bucks game, and it was too close to the stadium. It's a
whole
problem.
thing is weird.
But also, I thought that maybe once that rain delay got to like 2.5 hours, I thought it was going to be like, all right, we're going to cancel this thing. If it matters at the end of the season, we'll make it up. Because that's happened before. You know, sometimes they cancel the game late because of rain, and then they tell the two teams that aren't in the playoff picture that if somehow it ends up mattering, we'll make it up. Otherwise, just forget about it. It's off the schedule. So I kind of thought they would go that direction, but they made them wait. And my understanding, Tom, and I think you've heard the same thing, is that the field is just not equipped for that kind of water. Like a major league stadium is equipped for water. It can drain it. Busch Stadium, it can rain all day and then stop at 7:10, pull the tarp off the field and play a game. But a ballpark like that holds the water, which is a safety hazard. And so I do think it's a damn good thing that nobody got seriously hurt yesterday, because that can happen if players, especially in baseball, are playing in lousy conditions.
Just a heads up, we're going to talk to Ollie Marmol tomorrow. So I guess I'll save this for Ollie. The fact that Mason Wind is dealing with a sore knee. I mean, geez, at some point you think maybe you just call it a season and get him ready for the regular season next year. I mean, I don't want to cost him a Gold Glove or anything. I just want him to be ready for 26. I want this 26 season under Chaim Bloom to be as best equipped as possible for what he wants to do. I thought the best thing that happened actually over the weekend was a really nice story by Derek Gould in the Post-Dispatch on Chaim Bloom. Chaim has not talked to anybody. We do hope to talk to him on this show and get his first public comments out there about what he is going to try to achieve in 26. But the story was actually an interview with Eric Neander, who is the president of baseball operations for the Rays, who worked with Chaim for a long time. And he makes the great point that Chaim, having worked in Tampa and had worked in Boston, has seen both ends of the spectrum. He's seen one that has a low payroll, the other that has a high payroll and high demand.
Yep.
And he thinks St. Louis is a great fit. The other thing is, and I've been saying this for a while, is that this isn't like you're going to hire a guy who gets fired by a team and, hey, can you come run our team in 26? Chaim's been with the team now for 2 years.
Right.
He got hired 2 years ago at the end of 23 to be an advisor to basically audit the organization. And he did that all year. The first time I chatted with Chaim was spring training 24. So he's been around a long time. And this year, obviously, he's had a position and has been the successor to John Mozeliak. I think that is to his advantage and to the Cardinals' advantage that he has been able to see everything over the last couple of years, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there's been all of it.
Well, I do think that it's good he's got a little institutional knowledge, and that's his jumping off point instead of coming into the job fresh. That's the one big benefit of him having been here for a while. He's been able to assess. He's been able to see, even if and I don't know how instrumental he's been in any decisions lately. I think he's privy to them, but maybe not much influence. At least he's seen the way things have been done. And I think he knows what he's doing. He's clearly a smart baseball person. So once he takes over and is able to implement it the way he wants to implement it, having that institutional knowledge, having some idea of how things have worked here, what does and what doesn't work, what needs to change, you could sit back and just be quiet, right? For a year and a half or however long, see how people operate, see who's good at what, and then you can come in when it's your turn and start to make the changes you want to make. So it's not like he's jumping in, as you said, and then 2 weeks later he has to start making calls. He probably already knows what he wants to do.
Yes, the major decisions are finished for John Mozeliak. He pretty much said as much a couple of weeks ago on Sports on a Sunday Morning that the last big decision day for him was the trade deadline. And now it falls to Bloom on the action plan moving forward for September and beyond. He's got a lot to do. There's staffing that they have to figure out. Bloom has actually been involved in hiring some people on the minor league side and allocating those resources. So while John Mozeliak still has a job and still has duties, he is still in charge of the major league operation and is in charge of these transactions and works with Ollie Marmol on a lot of that. Heim has also met with Ollie Marmol quite a bit here recently, and there's a lot of talk about what they're doing now and into the future. So there is a big role for him. And I do think that the game has changed to where these executives have a stronghold on what goes on. That doesn't mean that Ollie Marmol doesn't have an important job. He is the eyes on the field. He makes the in-game decisions. He works with the players individually. It is not the GM's team. The manager does work with that general manager or president of baseball ops. But because of technology, because of analytics, because of all the things that go into it, it is a more important job than ever for that president of baseball operations to run things and have the machine working and have everybody working in tandem. And that's going to be a big task for Heim, but the experience, thank goodness he has the experience that he does. He's been doing it for a long time. We're talking 20 years now since he was brought in by the Rays.
You have to have a manager that is at least understanding of what your vision is for the roster that you've put together. If you're a president of baseball operations, a general manager, so that you're not just giving him a collection of players and then he says, well, I'm going to use this guy here and that guy there, and maybe I'll go by gut on this occasion, when the GM is thinking, no, I got this guy so that he faces lefties specifically and nothing beyond that, right? Like as long as there is that understanding between the two parties, great. And sometimes a manager will go on gut. He'll go based on what he thinks in the moment. Maybe it's not by the book. Maybe it's what he thinks in the moment. And that's okay too. It's just that both parties have to have a good working understanding of what the other one is trying to do.
And how does that apply to what we talked about in the beginning of the show? I will leave you with this. With Lutz Pfannenstiel getting fired today, keep your eye on Major League Soccer. In my opinion, you bring somebody in that knows this league right here, right now.
Yeah.
MLS person.
Not Europe.
Yeah. We'll be back tomorrow with the manager of the Cardinals, Oliver Marmol. The Gashouse Gang on KMOX.